Brother, let me tell you something about today's video. It's going to be an absolute doozy, because the one thing is for sure, PlayStation is literally not out of the heat or even out of the fire after over a month ago stating they're no longer going to be making physical games for their consoles moving forward, definitely impacting the PlayStation 6. And they've done all kinds of wacky and wild stuff in between, pretty much redesigning and rebuilding an entire factory to go from making discs to making micro lenses for AI data centers, to going around and adding stickers onto PS5 boxes that have the disc tray inside of it that they're no longer going to be supporting discs in 2028. And every other major country across the entire planet is now suing PlayStation. But it's going to get even worse for this company, because a little consumer group called Stop Killing Games is also involved in one of those major lawsuits, and we'll talk about that later on in this video. And when you get there, trust me, things are gonna get insane. But it looks like PlayStation isn't the only company that will also have PlayStation games, especially in the next couple of years. Yeah, it turns out that some really great developers on the Linux side are now building new ways of being able to play PlayStation games without needing a PlayStation or even a PlayStation Portal. I don't think this is gonna work out the way Sony wants it to. And I think it's gonna all fall apart right in front of their own very eyes. But even with all of that happening later on in today's video and everything going on with PlayStation and the gaming industry, it turns out that after a month and 11 days, dare I say even 12 right now, people are still angry at PlayStation. No matter what they try to do, no matter what they say, everybody is still going after PlayStation on Twitter, and no, they're not letting up. With PlayStation on Twitter posting, looking sharp, inspired by Insomniac's Battle Reborn suit and claws, the Marvel's #Wolverine PS5, Battle Yellow Limited Edition bundle, and Adamantium Limited Edition console covers, and DualSense release September 15th. Pre-orders are live August 19th. You want to know something crazy about this post, especially on PlayStation's own Twitter account? They're only showing the digital PS5. They're not showing the one with the disc tray or even having a disc standalone with it. They're only telling you, hey baby, it's going to be all digital. Get ready to own nothing. And like I said before, if PlayStation actually thinks they're out of the fire with this actual move, well, things aren't looking good in the reply section either. Yikes. With JCHIP saying save the discs, having 3.3 thousand likes as a reply. With Does It Play saying #no disc drive, no buy. Better join the #PS blackout and boycott anything Sony for as long as you can. Strong arming everyone into an all digital future without customer rights really isn't the way. Keep physical games alive and you would look much sharper. #physical games matter with 2.3 thousand likes. Even PlayStation fanboys like Origi Greatness are even fighting back, saying this company thinks we're spending another $1,000 on their greedy ass console. #no disc, no buy. Sony, #boycott PlayStation, #PS blackout with 1.2K likes. Seeing as how still people are going after PlayStation under all of their posts, even when it's a video game that people really want to play on a limited edition console that's only showing the digital one, basically telling everybody, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're going to be all digital in the future, goes to show this company has no idea who they are in fact messing with. I can guarantee you, and you could probably bet your sweet bippy at some point, many of those users who are on PlayStation are looking for other ways of buying video games or even other platforms. And one of those platforms may be one that many people feel is actually going to respect you as a customer. And it turns out you can even play all their PlayStation games without needing their hardware either. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment too. Don't you worry, trust me. But it turns out PlayStation isn't just talking about the digital consoles or digital game discs. It turns out they're also making sure that when you pre-order a game, it's going to be all digital, no matter what. With Sevi_707 posting, PlayStation is pushing digital only so hard that Wolverine will only have a Deluxe and Deluxe Plus edition for digital copies. You can't hate PlayStation enough. And Does It Play also posted 6 weeks after Sony announced they want to force everyone into a future without customer rights, the corpo apologist said the backlash will blow over quickly. Yet these are the trending news topics on Twitter today, almost like people are rightfully upset with the industry. And let me tell you, people are absolutely still pissed 6 weeks later after PlayStation made that announcement. Everybody is still replying, people are still community noting, and many other people are also going around and working double to try and make sure that you can have those games available to you no matter what platform you play on, especially on the PC. Because by God, that emulator is in fact kicking a lot of ass, and it turns out there's going to be other ways of playing your PlayStation games. Come hell or high water, they're going to make sure that you actually own something in today's modern age. And it turns out the people over at Valve and even some developers on Linux are doing just that. Because according to Dexerto, an upcoming app will let the Steam Deck and Linux and Steam Machine users play PS5 games without owning the console. Hey, another 200 yachts for Gabe Newell. You know what I'm talking about, baby? Now, that is exactly the kind of get-her-done attitude I want to see in the gaming industry and even for its own customers. That is going to be insane to watch and happen. Oh, and don't worry, developers are also working on a version for Xbox as well. So that way you'll be able to play Game Pass games and even Xbox PC app games on your Steam Deck without having to use Windows at all. Look, I'm telling you right now, boys, if you haven't caught yourself a Steam Deck yet, literally, it's going to be super expensive, but honestly, yikes, right? Or even an Xbox ROG Ally X and put Bazite or SteamOS on it, then literally, you are actually missing out. The fact that we're looking at all of this happening right now in this space, and the fact that even GOG is making direct native Linux support as well, truly goes to show that this industry is going to move into a direction where people want to own the things they actually buy. They don't want to be put over a barrel and have their content being removed X amount of years later without getting a single refund. Or if you're going to say you're going to be all digital, I may as well not buy your hardware and go all digital anyways on the actual devices that I want to use, that I actually own. And that's going to be the bigger key factor about all of this. Because clearly PlayStation has absolutely no idea who they're with. With the article from Dexerto saying, well, a brand new app has just been released to help solve that problem, allowing you to play PS5 games without even owning the console on your Steam Deck, Steam Machine, or Linux. It's called Asobi Remote Play. The app is basically a way to stream select PlayStation games to your Steam Deck, Steam Machine, or Linux. Essentially, it will remotely stream the PS4 and PS5 console complete with full controller support and optional cloud streaming compatibility. It's important to note that keyboard and mouse aren't supported here. Even though it does have the ability to stream PS4 and PS5 consoles, you can only play select PS5 games on it, though those quote select games include 3,970 titles, so you're still pretty spoiled for choice. Naturally, you need a PlayStation Plus premium subscription to stream the games through the cloud. Now, I know what you're saying, Alex, how is this big news? The fact that you still have to pay for PS Plus Premium to get those actual games streamed onto your Steam Deck really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're still giving PlayStation money. Contraire, mon frère. Don't you worry about that. You see, what PlayStation is betting on is that you'll be dumb enough to buy their next generation consoles or their $900 console as well in order to play their classic exclusive games on their actual system. Meanwhile, not giving you ownership of that system at all and literally not giving you any ownership of those games either that you're paying full price for. Think about it from that perspective. If you're giving the company $70 and you don't own the game, why give them $70? Hell, why even give them the amount for money of the actual console instead? You already have a Steam Deck. You already have a Steam Machine. You already have a PC. Why on earth would you give that company even more money to play on a device that you honestly don't even want? Just for a couple of games? Nah, I don't think so. Let's go ahead and subscribe for about a month or two, play 1 or 2 games, and then cancel that sub service as well. Especially if you have that amount of FOMO in you that you really just want to play that game. And you don't even have to have Windows to do it either, seeing as how PlayStation doesn't even have native Linux support. This is a monumental advancement being done by people on their own time in the own Linux development community to make sure you get to play more games on actual pieces of hardware you in fact want to own. And the Steam Deck being one of them is exactly why this thing is in fact so huge. Remember that Valve is also the same company that was able to put SteamOS on ARM devices, and a lot of the actual people inside the community were able to put Steam on PlayStation 5s, literally admonishing and showing that PlayStation is not the king of the roost on the actual gaming platform, and they only have their subset of users they can monetize to, and then parade in front of as an actual cult. No, I'm not kidding. They really are a cult. It's actually insane. Those fanboys are some of the worst fanboys I've ever seen in my entire life, and we've literally documented so many of them on this channel and their insane behavior. But the problem is, some of you are asking, Alex, I don't want to give PlayStation any money at all. What do we do then? Well, this. According to Tech Junkie Aman posting, more PlayStation 5 games are now running smoothly on KaiTai PS5 emulator. Current playable titles include Tomb Raider 4 through 6 Remastered, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, Pac-Man World Repack, Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of Dragons. All of them are now rendering and running smoothly at 60 FPS. PS5 emulation is progressing faster than many expected, and each update continues to improve game compatibility and overall stability. Which PS5 game would you like to see become playable next? Oh, we got emulation coming, baby. Woo! Brother, PlayStation will become Nintendo 2.0. I guarantee you on this. It's going to get to a point where they're just going to emulate every single console coming out practically immediately. And not out of necessity, mind you. Seeing as how 90% of the PS5 library is already on PC, all we're missing is just 4 games. It's kind of funny when you think about it. It really is. But again, even though these games may be smaller in scope and they may be also a little bit lighter to run, it doesn't mean that emulation isn't progressing at an incredibly rapid pace. An emulator being built completely out of spite, and that is going to be probably one of the best emulators you'll actually get your hands on, which really is completely funny. An entire machine run out of hatred, anger, and spite for a multi-billion-dollar corporation by removing your actual games. Hell, I'm not even the only one to do it. It turns out Executive Vice President of PlayStation, Shuhei Yoshida, did it himself. With Shuhei Yoshida posting, playing Astrobot on my Steam machine using Asobi Remote Play. Playtest. Brother, these boys are cooked. When Shuhei Yoshida himself is doing the damn thing on his own Steam machine, you can clearly bet things are not going to go well for PlayStation at all in this space. The dude used to work for them instead of supporting the developers that he used to work for. He's just saying, you know what? I could play it on my Steam machine instead. I'd rather do that than give this company any more money than I have to. Congratulations. Even your own team members are turning on you guys. I don't know why this is so funny to me, but we know why. We all know why this is funny. Let's be real. But it turns out this isn't the only front where PlayStation is in fact fighting a losing battle. It turns out that under specific lawsuits, they're also getting involved with things like Stop Killing Games and even Does It Play Itself. Yeah. It looks like SKG and many others are definitely in the boat of stopping games from being lost, and they're more than willing to throw their money behind it. And it's not going to be pretty. With Stop Killing Games posting on Twitter, it's time to sue Sony. Join us. At Does It Play 1 and Stop Killing Games are backing the class action lawsuit against Sony. With the article from Games Radar Plus also stating, Stop Killing Games has joined an ongoing legal effort in the Netherlands, pushing against PlayStation's alleged, quote, monopoly over digital game sales on its platform. While the new lawsuit primarily concerns digital game pricing, the end of physical media has exacerbated worries over Sony's ability to fix its own prices. PlayStation's ability to set its own digital prices is a big part of why I'm so concerned about the end of discs. On PC, where digital has been standard for decades, there are at least a variety of different stores that can compete against each other to offer different prices on digital games. On PlayStation, the prices are set purely by Sony and their third-party partners. Saying, quote, "The end of physical discs removes the last place where a PlayStation game could still be bought and sold at a competitive price," SMC said last month in response to Sony's announcement about the end of disc production. No discs means no secondhand market and no alternative to the PlayStation Store. So from 2028, Sony alone decides what a game costs and even how long you're allowed to use it. And this is exactly why people are in fact pissed about PlayStation's decision to remove physical discs in 2028. It's not just about the ownership itself, it's about the fact that PlayStation in 2019 literally proved to everyone that you can no longer buy PlayStation games on any other storefront that's digital. You can only buy it on their own store as well. Now people will say, "Alex, but I see games on CD keys." Sure, you totally do. The difference is though, those games are from keys of consoles that were sold as a pack-in for that system. That's why you see those there. But any other game that was not a pack-in and sold independently is not allowed by PlayStation's own decree to be sold on any other digital storefront at all. Remember, they pulled this off back in 2019, before everybody was locked inside their own homes, before they went ahead and went all digital, and before they went ahead and put their games on the PC platform as well. Doing this is one simple thing and one trick only. What PlayStation is trying to do is literally create an actual digital monopoly of their own games on their storefront, using you as a customer as literal leverage to go ahead and price whatever they want to, and saying, "We have 90 million consoles out in the space, we can price these games whatever we choose to price them at." By not having other storefronts on the PlayStation console, that literally removes any other actual competition in that ecosystem. And having almost 100 million users only have access to one store is exactly how you create a literal monopoly in the gaming space. If you ask me, there's only one thing to say to PlayStation.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
And by God, I really think they do. If SKG adds this into their own setup with the EU talking about stop killing games and the way Ubisoft is being treated and how games themselves are no longer being kept alive even after the publisher decides to terminate that actual aspect, we're going to see a lot of things happen very quickly over time, especially legally. Because remember, this isn't the only lawsuit that PlayStation is dealing with. They're dealing with one from Mexico, one from Brazil, one from the Dutch, like we talked about recently, and many others are also looking at suing PlayStation for what they're actually doing to their own user base and even many people across the entire planet. This is going to be a move that is going to rock the gaming industry for years to come. Not just possibly in 2027 when the PS6 potentially comes out, but also in 2028 as well, when they no longer have any physical discs whatsoever. And it could be the easiest win for Xbox to do right now and gain proper publicity if they truly wanted to. And even Nintendo, keeping an eye on the actual industry itself and what its users are doing and where their money is going, is exactly what these other companies should be seeing, on where Sony's in fact stepping on a rake. But you know what? It's going to keep happening to this company. No matter what they try to do, no matter what exclusive they try to put out, or whatever way they try to go ahead and coerce you to spending more money on their monopolistic platform, what you have right now is a group of Linux users using Steam as the vector to go through and make sure that you don't give Sony any more money than you actually have to. Going around and adding the actual ability to play your games through emulation on your PC that are on PlayStation 5, giving you proper ownership as well. And even lawmakers, foundation groups, and so many others like SKG backing each other up to make sure that we get the justice that Sony desperately is trying to make us no longer receive. And honestly, I'm 100% here for it, because it's truly been proven that Sony's tagline has moved from "play has no limits" to "greed has no limits." And they're going to find out real quick, when you push too hard against a customer, they're going to push back. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comments section down below. Do you think PlayStation is going to be even ready for what's going to be coming down the pipeline with emulation or even what's happening with Steam and Linux itself? Or do you think these lawsuits could in fact do something to make PlayStation at least do some kind of physical disc program or ownership program to let other storefronts into the actual PlayStation digital store? That would be the best outcome overall. Imagine if GOG was actually there. That would be cool. But as always, I want to hear what you guys got to say. And speaking about what you got to say, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With Furman Aliou saying, "This is why I'm into retro gaming. The PS3 and Xbox 360 generation was the last generation that physical media was important." Furman, I gotta back you up on this, my brother. I don't know what it is, but older games, they just hit different, man. It's really crazy. I was booting up some old PS2 games the other day, playing them on my PlayStation 2, hell, even playing them on my Steam Deck, and playing games like Xenosaga 1. You don't get that kind of game anymore right now. Same thing with Rogue Galaxy, same thing with even, hell, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. You don't get anything like that at all. Even Driver on the PS1. There are so many games out there back in the old retro days that so many people just did not even play or look at because we didn't have the money back then. But even now, just getting them through emulation or even playing them on your retro console, it's honestly fantastic. And personally, I really do miss the 360 generation and the PS3 gen. Those were some good games, and those were some really wild times. If only we had that back and actual ownership came back with it. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to see more of this kind of content, though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and live streams, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it, bro. Just come on down Saturday nights live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with text-to-speech. Trust me, the community is actually amazing. They're super welcoming. You're going to love every minute of it, and they are incredibly funny as well. The live streams on Saturday nights are actually insane, and you're going to love it. Trust me. Don't miss it. Every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live, right here. Do you want even more of me, though? Check out Oh No, It's Alex Gaming. Link to that channel is in the description down below. New videos go up every single Monday, and I also live stream there daily as well. Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to around 2 p.m. We're playing Beast of Reincarnation and then jumping right into the Gears of War E-Day open beta. Come on down, hang out as I also get made fun of in those live streams, get called DSP, and even try to beat some video games on the hardest difficulty in the worst possible way and getting made fun of with TTS. Yeah, it's like a theme. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Everybody there is amazing. And I really am the luckiest person alive to have this kind of community on this platform. I love you guys. You're amazing. And I couldn't be here without you. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one. And I'll see you gooners next time. Peace! Oh, my voice cracked on that one. Let's try it again. Peace! There we go. That's the way to do it. Yeah!